1975 was the year when Jaws terrified moviegoers, disco started taking over the radio, and Saturday Night Live made its debut. On television, some shows soared to legendary status, but others? They fell harder than a contestant on Almost Anything Goes. We're talking about the flops, shows hyped to the moon by networks, stacked with big names and loaded with promise, only to crash and burn within a season, sometimes even before the year was over. These are the 10 biggest TV disasters of 1975, the kind of shows that had producers scratching their heads, critics sharpening their knives, and audiences reaching for the remote. Let's dive in. 1. The Barney Miller spin-off that nobody wanted. Fish detective Phil Fish was one of the breakout stars of Barney Miller. Abe Vigoda played him with perfect deadpan humor, always ready with a grumble about his aches and pains. So ABC thought, why not give Fish his own show? The pilot aired in 1975, and instead of the busy, banter-filled squad room, we got Fish at home, complaining about his hemorrhoids, fixing leaky faucets, and arguing with his wife. It was slow, melancholy, and, without the ensemble, painfully flat. Viewers tuned in expecting sharp police comedy. Instead, they got a sitcom about a tired old man shuffling around his apartment. Even Abe Vigoda later admitted the show wasn't the same without the guys. The network shelved the project until 1977, when it officially became Fish. But by then, the magic was long gone, and ratings never recovered. 2. Cher goes solo and falls flat. Fresh from her divorce with Sonny Bono, Cher got her own variety show in early 1975. On paper, it made sense. She was already a TV icon, her fashion sense was unmatched, and she could sing live like no one else. The problem? She kept the same format from the Sonny and Cher comedy hour, but without Sonny, the banter and comedic chemistry were gone. Sketches dragged, jokes fell flat, and instead of creating a new identity, the show clung to the old formula. Sonny's own solo show was airing at the same time, which split their fan base and hurt both series. 3. William Shatner's steampunk misfire. Barbary Coast, fresh off Star Trek, William Shatner teamed up with Doug McClure for this Western detective series set in 1880s San Francisco. The pitch? Shatner is a master of disguise, working undercover with a casino owner to bust criminals. The problem? Tone. One week it played like a slapstick comedy. The next, a straight mystery. Sometimes it even drifted into gadget-heavy spy territory. Viewers couldn't figure out what the show was trying to be. The costumes and set designs were gorgeous, but the writing felt like it was stitched together from 3 different shows. Competing against network juggernauts didn't help either. After 13 episodes, ABC quietly pulled the plug. Today, it's mostly remembered as that weird Shatner thing between Star Trek and T.J. Hooker. 4. Norman Lear's first real bomb, Hot L Baltimore. In the early 70s, Norman Lear was untouchable. All in the Family, Maude, Good Times, everything he touched turned to ratings gold. Then came Hot L Baltimore. Based on a controversial stage play, the series followed the eccentric tenants of a rundown hotel, including prostitutes, illegal immigrants, and con artists. Even the title was edgy, taken from the hotel's neon sign with the E burned out. The writing was sharp and the cast was talented, but ABC's advertisers hated it. Middle America wasn't ready for a sitcom that opened with sex workers as main characters. Religious groups protested, sponsors bailed, and ratings collapsed. After just 13 episodes, ABC axed it. Lear later admitted it was too far ahead of its time. 5. NBC's invisible ratings, The Invisible Man. NBC's 1975 version of The Invisible Man wasn't horror. It was a light adventure series about a scientist who accidentally turns invisible and uses his powers to fight crime. The pitch sounded promising, but the budget was a killer. Early invisibility effects were expensive and clunky, meaning most of the time, our hero was either barely invisible or just standing around in sunglasses and a trench coat. The stories weren't much better. Stock spy plots, repetitive villains, and comedy bits that fell flat. Critics called it neither thrilling nor funny. It limped through one season before NBC pulled the plug. Ironically, the only thing truly invisible was the audience. 6. NBC's toothless political sitcom, Karen Valentine, was fresh off her Emmy win for Room 222 when NBC gave her the lead in a new sitcom about a young woman navigating the politics of Washington, D.C. Sounds promising, especially in the post-Watergate era when political satire was hot. But Karen was scared to bite. Scripts avoided real political issues in favor of generic office misunderstandings. Valentine was charming, but the show didn't know what it wanted to be, a workplace comedy or a romantic sitcom. The result was bland, forgettable television. After 13 episodes, NBC quietly dropped it. 7. CBS tries to replace a legend, Gunsmoke's Next Generation. In 1975, after 20 years on the air, CBS tried to prepare viewers for Gunsmoke's eventual end by introducing a younger group of characters who could take over the series. The idea was simple: slowly fade out Marshal Dillon and let a new marshal and deputies handle Dodge City. The problem? Fans didn't want new. They wanted Gunsmoke exactly as it was. The younger actors were fine, but the chemistry was gone. Ratings dipped during the test episodes, and CBS abandoned the plan. Instead, they ended Gunsmoke later that year without any replacement. 8. Game show gone wrong. Almost anything goes. ABC thought America wanted to watch small-town teams compete in ridiculous outdoor stunts, rolling barrels, climbing greasy poles, running obstacle courses in silly costumes. For the first few episodes, it was a hit. But without celebrities, cash prizes, or variety, the gimmick wore thin fast. By mid-season, the slapstick falls and mud-splash comedy felt repetitive. Even the contestants seemed embarrassed. The show was canceled within a year, living on only in blooper reels. 9. Lee Grant's short-lived comeback. Faye Oscar winner Lee Grant starred as a newly divorced woman starting fresh in her 40s. A premise decades ahead of its time. But NBC didn't seem to know what to do with it. Some episodes played like heartfelt drama, others like wacky sitcom. The tonal whiplash confused viewers. Critics praised Grant's performance but shredded the scripts. Ratings tanked, and NBC yanked it after 10 episodes, one of the shortest runs of the season. 10. Mystery overload. Ellery Queen CBS thought they had a clever hook. A weekly murder mystery where Jim Hutton, as Ellery Queen, would break the fourth wall and challenge the audience to solve the crime before he did. Fans of the novels loved the idea, but general audiences found it frustrating. Most viewers didn't like being reminded they couldn't solve the mystery. It didn't help that pacing was slow compared to fast-talking detectives like Kojak. By the end of its single season, even mystery buffs had moved on. 1975 proved that star power, big budgets, and bold ideas don't guarantee success. These flops remind us that TV is a gamble. Sometimes you win big, and sometimes, well, you get almost anything goes. Which of these 1975 disasters do you remember? Let's hear your picks in the comments, because even a flop can be fun to revisit.